In a lush valley surrounded by towering mountains, there was a peaceful meadow where a flock of sheep lived under the care of an old shepherd named Elias. The meadow was vast, with emerald green grass that swayed in the wind and a sparkling river that meandered through. Elias, who had spent decades with the flock, knew each sheep by name. His loyal dog Max helped him watch over the sheep, keeping them safe from harm. However, the tranquility of the meadow was often threatened by a cunning wolf named Caden. Caden was a loner, infamous in the valley for his deceptive tactics and relentless hunger. Unlike other wolves, Caden preferred outwitting his prey rather than chasing them. He prided himself on his intellect and often watched the sheep from a distance, his golden eyes glinting with calculation. One sunny morning, as the flock grazed near the river, Caden sat hidden behind a cluster of rocks, watching them. "Why waste energy chasing them?" he muttered to himself, "when I can use my wits." He decided to devise a plan to infiltrate the flock and claim his prize. The disguise. That evening, Caden prowled around the outskirts of the meadow until he stumbled upon a patch of wool caught on a thorn bush. A sly grin spread across his face. "Perfect," he whispered. Over the next few days, Caden collected more wool, weaving it together until he had a makeshift sheep disguise. When he looked at his reflection in the river, even he was impressed. "They'll never suspect a thing," he chuckled. As dawn broke, Caden, wearing his woolly disguise, strolled confidently into the meadow. The sheep barely noticed him, accustomed to seeing new members join their flock. One sheep, a curious young lamb named Lily, approached him. "Hello there," Lily bleated. "Are you new here?" "Why, yes," Caden replied in a gentle tone, mimicking the bleat of a sheep. "I've traveled far and wide, looking for a place to belong." Touched by his words, Lily introduced him to the rest of the flock. Caden blended in effortlessly, biding his time, gaining trust. Over the next few weeks, Caden earned the trust of the flock. He helped them find the juiciest patches of grass and warned them of distant shadows, pretending to be vigilant. Even Elias the shepherd noticed the new sheep and commended his good behavior. "You're a fine addition to the flock," Elias said one evening, patting Caden's wool-covered back. Caden suppressed a smirk, thinking, "If only you knew." However, not everyone was convinced. Max, the shepherd's dog, often growled at Caden, his instincts warning him something was amiss. Caden avoided Max as much as possible, knowing that one wrong move could expose him. The turning point one moonlit night, while the flock was asleep, Caden decided it was time to strike. He crept towards the lambs, his sharp teeth glinting under the moonlight. But as he prepared to pounce, Lily stirred in her sleep and saw him. "Caden, what are you doing?" she asked groggily. Caught off guard, Caden hesitated. I was just checking on you," he stammered, his usual confidence faltering. Lily tilted her head, sensing something strange in his tone. But before she could say anything, Max appeared, growling fiercely. Caden knew his cover was blown. The chase. With a swift motion, Max lunged at Caden, tearing off his woolly disguise. Gasps filled the meadow as the sheep woke up to the sight of a wolf in their midst. Panic ensued as the flock scattered, bleating in fear. Elias, awakened by the commotion, grabbed his staff and rushed to the scene. Caden, realizing he was outnumbered, fled into the forest, Max hot on his heels. A lesson. Learned back in the safety of the meadow, Elias calmed the flock, reassuring them that Max had driven the wolf away. He looked at the frightened sheep and said, "Let this be a lesson. Not everyone who appears kind and trustworthy has good intentions. Always stay vigilant." Lily, still shaken, approached Elias. "I trusted him," she said, her voice trembling. Elias placed a comforting hand on her head. "Trust is precious, Lily. It's not wrong to give it, but it must be earned and guarded." Meanwhile, deep in the forest, Caden nursed his bruises, both physical and emotional. "Perhaps brute force isn't so bad after all," he muttered. But as he licked his wounds, he couldn't shake the feeling of shame. He had underestimated the strength of unity and the sharp instincts of the shepherd and his dog. Moral of the story: deception may grant temporary success, but truth and vigilance will always prevail. Trust should be given wisely, and appearances can be deceiving. Let me know if you'd like this story to be expanded or tailored further.